Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Now, Next, Never. I'm Nicole Casperson, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts Alana Saparu and Zaid Admani. What is up, guys? Happy Friday. Zaid, what are we looking at?
What's up, guys? All right, watch out, Square, Visa, and MasterCard. Apple is ready to eat your lunch. We're going to be discussing that. Meta ran a smear campaign against TikTok. I think Zuck is shaking in his virtual reality boots. Right, Delano?
Yes, Zaid and Nicole, good to see you both again as always. And guess what? We have a special guest in the house. Danny V, producer Danny V is in the house. Back on the show to talk about some of the strangest real estate you've never seen and why Apple really might control the world. So guess what? Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stick with us because we're getting started right now.
Can Apple eat up Square, Cash App, Visa, and MasterCard? Maybe so. Apple did make some money moves this week. First, Apple announced its acquisition of open banking fintech Credit Kudos, which is a UK-based software company that uses consumers' banking data to make more informed credit checks and loan applications. Then, Apple shared its multi-year plan to build out its financial services offerings in-house. They're calling it Project Breakout. It's not hard to think about a future where Apple becomes a full-fledged financial services company with checking, savings, and even investments. I could definitely see that in the future. But this, the financial services industry is definitely ripe for disruption. Plus, the global fintech investment industry has reached record highs at $621 billion last year, according to CB Insights. So if there's a time to penetrate this market, it is right now, and Apple is looking to eat up Square, Cash App, Visa, and MasterCard. But can they do it, guys?
No, Nicole, I don't think they're going to do it right now. One, yes, they can certainly take a bite out of this industry because what? They have a lot of cash. But guess what? If you're a bigger player in this industry, I don't think you should be as scared, right? If you're a Visa that has about, look at their financials, they're about a 470 billion market cap company. So they've been doing this for a long time. They're very good at what they do. Now, if you're smaller, like let's say a Square, which is obviously a lot smaller than Visa and a lot smaller than Apple, they might have to be a little bit more scared. But the bigger players have the opportunity to partner with Apple because they have the infrastructure in place already. Look at Apple Pay. They're still using your Visa cards. You're still using your other card providers within Apple Pay. So, and Apple's not, we know they're one of the greatest companies, guys. We know that they're a good company. Shouldn't say the greatest, but they're a really good company. We don't have a crystal ball on everything they're going to do next. Remember one of their one snafus, Apple Maps, one of the one snafus they ever have. I still have never used it because of the fact that when I got on, I couldn't even get anywhere, and I'm someone that needs a mapping place for anywhere I go. So still don't use it. I don't think Apple's going to take over. It's going to take a while before they understand this industry, Zayn. I don't think they can do it right away.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you guys. When I first heard this story, I was like, yeah, here we go. Apple's about to dominate this industry as well. They got the cash, they got the brand. Here we go. But the more I thought about it, I don't think it's going to be as smooth of a transition or as smooth of a entry into this industry. The thing that I'm really worried about is the regulatory drama, right? Like right now, Apple's been dealing with a little bit of regulatory heat. People have been calling their app store a monopoly. So they're dealing with a lot of regulations from the United States and also the European Union. And if they start getting into the payment space, well, then there's going to be a bigger spotlight on Apple because of that. And this payment-to-payment, and Apple's current payment-to-payment system, they've had for a couple years now. You know what I'm talking about? Like the iMessage thing where you can like send someone money just through like iMessage or whatever.
Yeah.
I've never used that. I don't know about you guys. Have you guys used that? Yeah, nobody uses it, right? And Apple's had that for a while now, but everyone still uses Cash App or Venmo or Zelle as the alternative. So just because Apple's getting into this space doesn't mean they're going to dominate. And I agree with you, Delano. Like, maybe Square needs to be a little bit more worried than like the big players like Visa and MasterCard that have been in this space for like 50 plus years. Square might be a little bit more nervous, but the other bigger players, I don't think they should be as nervous.
Yeah, I could level with you. To build these financial services infrastructures, especially given Apple saying they want to bring everything in house. If they do that, then that would mean cutting ties with Goldman Sachs, who currently helps them with a lot of their payment services and the Apple Card and that type of thing. So if you cut that cord and you bring everything in-house, it is going to take a lot of time to actually build things out to make this like completely feasible. So it'll take time for sure. I don't know how long. Is it years out? Not sure. Maybe it's like more like 10, but no crystal ball here.
I mean,
but
yeah.
but I think they could do it. Like, I think they could do it. I think they could be a formidable competitor in the fintech financial services space. And I think they can, kind of make some of these payment giants a little bit worried.
I mean, they got the cash to kind of like try it out, right? 200 billion plus in cash based on their latest balance sheet. So they can kind of try it out. But this is also like kind of outside of Apple's core competency, right? Like their major business is like what? They make amazing products. I got an iPhone and a MacBook right in front of me right now. They make great products with high profit margins with a rabid fan base. And this is kind of way outside, like 2 layers outside of that core business. So I don't know if it's like the best fit for their business. But then again, like you got 200 billion in the bank, try it out, man. If it doesn't work, whatever,
Exactly. That's what I was thinking is like this, they have so much cash, but the big thing is like, is it a good use of your money? Are you going to get the return on investment? Yeah, you can start any sort of business you want if you're Apple, but is it actually going to provide a return for you if you're not really breaking into that space and doing better than the current players in that space? You could have put your money somewhere else. That's that opportunity cost of your own money. So it's I don't know. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's the next biggest industry that needs disruption and innovation that they haven't, entirely penetrated in full yet. So I think it makes a lot of sense to shoot their shot, basically. So
I want them to use that money to make some dope VR goggles because the Oculus isn't doing it for me. So speaking of an Oculus, right? Meta is attacking TikTok. Why is Zuckerberg terrified of TikTok? Well, let me tell you why. Because they're their biggest threat so far. And what Meta has done is they hired a Washington, D.C. based consulting company called Targeted Victory to coordinate a national smear campaign against TikTok. This was an article in the Washington Post. I almost was like, is this like a joke or something? But no, this is like a legit thing. Straight out of like a political thriller movie or a TV show or something.
Messed up.
So it is crazy. This consulting company would go to like local media, newspapers, and publish like hit pieces on TikTok essentially to paint it as like this dangerous platform for its users. And to me, this just kind of shows that Meta is like so scared of TikTok, they don't even think they can compete with them. They have to use smear tactics to compete with them to make them look bad. And let me hit you guys with some stats here, right? Meta's stock is down more than 30% this year, all right? There's some pressure there. Their stock is down. They got hit last year with the Apple blocking the ability to track users on their iPhones, and that's estimated to cost Meta around $10 billion in revenue per their latest earnings report. They mentioned that. And TikTok has taken up a bigger and bigger market share of social media. Even Zuck mentioned them by name in his Q4 earnings call. And this is to me is the biggest point. Facebook, when typically they would be faced with competition, what would they used to do? They would bust out their checkbook, write a check, and acquire companies. They did that with Instagram. They did it with WhatsApp. But they can't do that anymore because they have a regulatory spotlight. A bunch of people all over the world looking at Facebook or Meta and seeing them as this monopoly already. So they have a regulatory spotlight, which might make it harder for them to buy up their competition. So Delano, I mean, what do you think, man? You think that Facebook or Meta is going to get out of this? Like, are you a believer in the house of Zuck to get out of this and keep growing?
Yes, and I am a believer. One, they're not terrified. They're maybe a little bit paranoid, but at the very least, they're aware. But that's all. They're not terrified of TikTok at all. Guess what? Zuckerberg, his strategy has always been, as you just pointed out, acquiring companies, maybe copying features. If they can't do that, that's okay. They understand the competition is going to be out there. And I think we have a chart kind of showing kind of that evolution of social media platforms across the years, across the decades. And this is actually from Captain Gizmo, a popular YouTuber. So we take those numbers as we will. But Facebook has stayed on top with dominance because Zuckerberg knows how to, one, evaluate its competition, and two, beat them, right? Like TikTok is one platform. Facebook, Meta, is multiple platforms. You have Facebook, right, where you make sure you understand whose birthday it is. You have Instagram, where you just post your best lighting, your best pictures, and your best lighting. And you have WhatsApp, where you keep up with your international friends. So TikTok has one platform where you post 6-second videos a day. You're the best at it, so we know that. But you post little videos, and you maybe dancing. I've only seen dancing and some cool financial advice on TikTok. I haven't seen much else, all right? So that's all you got. Facebook and Zuckerberg, they're not afraid. They're just aware and maybe slightly paranoid, but that's it. That's it.
Delano's not down with the Gen Zers, apparently, and the young
Seriously,
kids.
man.
All right. Luckily, I am. Don't worry, guys. I'm plenty cool. My little cousins tell me all the time. But basically, okay, so TikTok has become the most popular app among young Americans, to be fair. Even more popular than Instagram, with 63% of Gen Z youth using TikTok on a daily basis compared to the 57% who use Instagram. That percentage, difference isn't that big, but what kind of growth are we going to see over time? I like to bring it back to the culture, and the culture is moving away from Instagram and it's like perfect aesthetic. It's like weird. People are loving more of TikTok's informational, educational, and just like authenticity.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, yes, see, Zayd agrees. He, of course, yes, but so I'm just saying there's a ton here that I think we have to think about in terms of like what is the next generation that's going to continue to grow. And age, what are they going to want to bring with them? Is it going to be meta? I don't think so. And also, I would just say, like, in terms of the smear campaign, that's super shady, super sleazy. And the young teens, they have no time for that stuff. They are down to, stand up against things like that. They have way more empathy, way more sympathy for these type of things. And they want ethical campaigns, not something like this. So honestly, the image of Zuck with the Make Meta Great Again hat is enough said.
Just to be a little bit fair, I mean, Meta is still a money printing machine, $117 billion in revenue in 2021, $39 billion in net income. So they're still printing money, but I'm still a little bit worried about their future growth. Before we move on, we have we want to react to some social media comments that we've got. I'm not gonna lie to you, the text is a little small. I can't really read that, but. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was not. We should have thought of that.
That's for our viewers.
I mean, okay, so we do know a little bit of what they say, right? So, people are mad, right? People are like, not
people are
reacting.
taking shots for sure. People are taking shots.
Sides. They're not reacting well, and I don't blame them. I do still think that Meta, and I'm like out here like being kind of the meta hater. Sorry guys, but I don't have a crystal ball. The Meta is still recovering, I think, from a lot of what has happened since January 2021 and the big kind of America altering event that happened then. I think that they're still recovering. So anyways, that's I could see why people are upset.
Yeah, everyone's going to take swings at the giant. Of course, we understand that, but I think all these platforms have a little bit something to say about like how your data is used and all that stuff. So more dirt will be dug up, not just by Zuck. There'll be more dirt dug up in the future, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, this is just getting started. Like this is like Act 1. Like it's gonna get even dirtier. And honestly, I'm here for it. Like I want competition in the space. I want Instagram and Meta to kind of step up their game. It's better for creators, to be perfectly honest. And I want these two platforms to kind of challenge each other to become better and better and even better for creators. So I just don't like the tactic that Meta is using. Instead of like, why are they kind of getting negative here and throwing smear campaigns? Maybe just step up your game a little bit and innovate there. So that's how I would prefer they attack this problem instead of it just being negative and smearing the other competition.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see how that turns out. Moving on to So That Happened with Danny V, aka Producer Danny. We are so excited to have him back on the show. It is always so much fun. Fun graphic. Oh my gosh. All right. Welcome.
What's up, Danny?
What's up, y'all?
Producer Danny.
How we doing? I was listening to you guys debate social media platforms. I'm the guy who's like, hey, what about Twitter? When's it ever gonna happen for Twitter?
Oh, I know. Twitter's my favorite one too, guys.
I think you're right though, Delano. Like I feel like birthdays is what Facebook should run from. Like instead of like being like PR, negative publicity, another version of propaganda, which they got slammed for in the election, they should just be like, remember people's birthdays. We're Facebook.
Exactly. That's what I use for, honestly. That's where I get my birthday shout outs.
It's hard to make $120 billion from just being a birthday reminder app, though. So they got
Facebook is here to remind you about that person you went to high school birthday.
Yeah, and your relatives, your older relatives are on there too. Don't forget about that.
That's true.
Well, I brought you guys some wild stories I'm excited about. So I'll open up with a question here. What if a random artist from the 50s is the father of NFTs? Get ready for this. I think a lot of folks are still confused about NFTs, but let me say this. I think art has always been weird and confusing. So last week, Sotheby's said it expects roughly 500 grand for a receipt for a piece of invisible art, or as the artist calls this series, zones of immaterial pictorial sensibility. Do I even need to say he was French? So
oh my gosh, beautiful.
Forbes wrote that Klein's invisible pieces can be viewed as a precursor to NFTs and other digital art forms. And Sotheby's Paris kind of rose to the occasion. They said they'd accept cryptocurrency for the receipt, which was a first for the France location. I kind of feel like invisible art is like NFTs. In the end, what you're really buying is the receipt, you know? And it kind of seems like there's a precedent in the art world for receipts, you know, tokenized or not, to be able to hold their value.
If I could make invisible art, I would actually be an art. Like I cannot do anything artistically. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm at, Danny. We need to collaborate on something like that. Honestly.
It's our next big idea.
We could make some of the most beautiful invisible art ever.
Seriously.
Yeah, interesting. Although, yeah, I mean, art is supposed to make you think twice and expand your
I thought of
thought
multiple times on that
process.
one.
So I'm gonna need to I need to resonate with this one a little bit. I need to sit with this one and understand invisible art. But yeah, crazy.
Hey, the best way to get started is to just buy, Nicole. So you can buy
Obviously.
Delano and I's first receipt. Okay.
I would love be honored. Be honored. Just give me a discount.
All right. So another theory I've been chewing on, you know, we talk so much about Apple. It's, you know, such a huge company. You know, we all see the ads, we see the marketing, we see the big, you know, Tim Cook, the presentations, et cetera. I mean, you could almost like slip into thinking that Apple is like a pure brand, like a being of sheer luxury minimalism. But I was thinking about just how big Apple is, like physically. In 2018, the Financial Times reported that Apple owned 7,300 acres, which is about 11 square miles, or to put that in Delano terms, half a Manhattan. So obviously, they make a ton of money. Apple's big. We get it. But I had this kind of crazier theory that Apple was actually shaping the way that people talk. So what a little piece of Apple jargon, I'm sure we all know it, is pro, right? It's not expensive. It's professional. Okay. Pro motion display, you're like, isn't that just 120 hertz? Well, we can charge more, calling it a word we made up. So I started to wonder, though, how much of an effect does Apple's use of a word like in their branding have on just general use of the word? So I turned to Google Trend to look at pro here. We see that searches for pro are on a steady uptrend. There's some spikes, but you can see it's just consistently going up. What about mini? That's another one, right? iPad mini, et cetera, et cetera. So too with mini, we see a steady uptrend, including a noticeable pop at the debut of the iPad mini in 2012. Likewise, we see it with Plus. We got Apple TV Plus, Apple Care Plus. At some point, they said, let's do Plus. Again, big spike there around the release of Apple TV Plus and a steady uptrend. So are you guys sold at this point?
Very much so.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not? You like the evidence is clear, right? Like it's a open and shut case. Like Apple is controlling our brains and our language and everything at this point.
Well, I love that you guys are less skeptical than me. I guess like when I saw these, I was like, okay, this is impressive, but these are pretty low search volumes. I don't know if you can see that on the charts. We're talking about maybe 100, 200 searches, not a lot of volume. Okay. So I was like, yeah, this is kind of a thing, but these are kind of weird words. But I actually really got sold when I searched nano. Check this out. We see a huge peak with iPod Nano's release, and then subsequent dwindling and eventually near abandonment. I seem to remember a time when it was all about like nanotechnology and nanobots. Now, the word nano itself has gone nano.
That's I mean, it shows how powerful, right? How thoughtful they are being about like the words that they use, the marketing and that kind of thing. I mean, I guess like even if it isn't such a large amount, there is still that spike. So yeah, it just shows it's like influence, and that is pretty crazy. Messages matter. And so yeah, that is, I think, the takeaway here for me.
I think the takeaway is that the iPad Nano was like a dope product. That's about it.
All right, so I'm excited about this one, going a totally different direction into real estate town. You know, we live in a time where homes are more expensive than ever. And I don't know if you guys have ever gotten to a binge of this, but I love to see eccentric rich people's homes that are virtually unsellable. Because like, why are you so weird? Your house is weird. Like nobody else likes what you like, right? So Examples include this bizarre thing in Pittsford, New York. Looks like Frodo sold the ring and upgraded his Hobbit home.
Yes, I
got-
love these.
We got a French palace. I think this place looks like a growth. You should definitely get checked out.
Oh my
And the
God.
absurd
Oh my
but unsurprisingly affordable doghouse in Idaho. There we go. It goes for a
Cute.
mere 150 or so a night. So maybe we should do an offsite there, guys. You know,
Pretty fun. Retreat.
So I bring this up to make the point that, like, when I see a weird house, I'm usually making fun of the owner for their lack of foresight and taste. You know, it's like, did you really think you were going to die in that weird home with a pink shag rug by the pool? Like, nobody wants that, you know? So I think it's real estate common sense, but it's like, don't buy weird. And if you're customizing, don't be weird. I'm not here to give real estate advice, but I am here to tell you a story about a strange house customization that, like most, wasn't great for its rental value, but unlike most, crosses over into the world of art. So on August 9th, 1986, artist John Buckley made his house look like this. He put a shark in the top of the house. And
Cute.
this wasn't just a random day. It was actually the 41st anniversary of the dropping of the atomic bomb on Nagasaki. So what followed was a 7-year battle to keep the shark. City planners had issues citing safety. It took years, and after eventually rising all the way to the Department of the Environment, that's a thing in the UK, the shark was cleared to stay. The current owner, son of the shark's creator, says regarding the art, the clearest theme is opposition to military intervention and war. So going with the thread here, I was like, I'm guessing this thing is hard to rent. And sure enough, it is. In 2011, the Daily Jaws, a shark news site, hey, it's reputable if you're a shark fan. This beautiful home in Oxford, England is having a bit of difficulty finding renters, they wrote. So I bring all this up because the shark is again making headlines because, get this, the same local government that tried to kill the shark in its early days has decided to call it a protected landmark.
Wow.
What?
So,
Incredible.
complete turnaround, right? So the
Wow.
owner and inheritor of the Headington Shark, or simply the Shark House, found this super frustrating, saying, using the planning apparatus to preserve a historical symbol of planning law defiance is absurd. Or in American English, they're hypocrites.
Yeah.
It's not so, I guess that's like not so surprising, right? That's really interesting. First of all, I love that you did this because I also love a good marathon where I'm looking into people's crazy houses. But I do think people love like the novelty of these things. This kind of reminds me, I was watching on YouTube the other day, like a realtor going through the tiniest apartment in New York City. Oh gosh, I can't remember where it's located, like what neighborhood, but it's like ridiculous. Like this guy's like, he's like 5'10" and he's like, can't even put his arms up. And it's completely railroad style, but it costs like a couple $1 million like to live
Oh
there.
my God.
And it's like,
That's
who
weird.
in the world is living in this house? But people like love it. They like love the novelty of it. He was like trying to show it off, like, ooh, look at this like brand new. What? Who cares? It's like this big. You can't even like. He could lay across the floor and his like foot and head touch like everything. It was kind of. But people like that stuff. There's like people out there that dig that.
Got to get bang for your buck, man. That seems like you're not doing it there.
I want to
love
know what the
novelty.
neighbors think. Like, yo, there's a shark house right next to our, like in our neighborhood. Like, I don't know. If I was living there, I'd be kind of like upset. Like, I don't want this shark house in my neighborhood.
That's exactly where I was
Shark
going to go. I actually looked at the local area and houses didn't seem to be more expensive by the Shark House, but like it is like a tourist site. Like it's on Google Maps. People go check
Well,
it
that's what I'm
out.
saying. I'd be
So
upset about that. Like, yo, we got another batch of tourists here trying to take a picture in front of this weird shark house. Like, what? I'd be upset. Do you have any numbers on like how much the shark house is going for? Are we talking like 7 digits here?
no, it's well, it's it's in pounds, but I think it comes out to like 500K pounds, whatever that is.
Okay.
Oh, it's like a starter house. Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Yes,
Wow.
I really thought this was like a breath of fresh air, in a world where shelter's expensive, zoning laws, everyone's complaining about these things, and we have a major conflict, war dominating headlines. I thought the Shark House was pretty good vibes. Art for art's sake. And so this is kind of my takeaway for this. If you are one of those weird home customizers, maybe come up with a powerful message and you too can own a deeply ironic landmark and very ugly home, but one that people actually respect, except Zayd, apparently.
Wild, wild. Oh my gosh. Well, this is crazy. Thank you so much, Danny, for joining us and sharing all of this wild information. I'm gonna you're about to make me go down a rabbit hole on these crazy houses. So thank you. Thank you for giving me something to do for the rest of my weekend. Appreciate it. And thanks for joining us.
Great seeing you
Bye,
guys.
Danny.
See you on Meta.
Thanks, Danny.
All right, let's get into Now Next Never, guys. Ooh.
Okay. Now Next Never, right now, happening right now. Sorry. Joe Biden is releasing 1 million barrels a day, 1 million barrels of oil a day from their strategic oil reserves for the next 180 days to help push gas prices down. We already know that gas prices are still pretty high, which is no fun. And by releasing 1 million barrels a day, that should help increase the supply, which should help push down gas prices. 1 million barrels a day is about 5% of the daily American demand. So I'm sure it'll help a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to help as much as maybe they're hoping. So that's happening right now.
Zayn, I'm so glad I do not drive. But
you guys are lucky, man. You can't do anything in Houston without driving.
Zero impact.
New York. But guess what? What's happening next, guys? Are we in a housing bubble? Even with rising rates and home prices at the highest levels we've seen in history, we just talked about some shark house going for 500,000 pounds. The price of rents have actually gone up. The demand is still there. The price of rents have grown 50% year over year since last February, while mortgage rates payments grown 31% year over year. So that's incredibly showing that we're still having a crazy demand for housing in this particular time. We're still seeing that demand go away. It's not gone away, even with rates continuing to rise. So the question's going to be begged. The question begs, are we in some sort of housing bubble coming up next, Nicole? I don't know, but it could be something we should be watching.
Oh, not another housing bubble.
I think we might be, man. I think we might be.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, boy. Anyway, so scientists think they should de-extinct the species of rat called the Christmas Island rat, but maybe they shouldn't. This is no, guys, I cannot. This is a never for me. There's our friend. Basically, a scientist at the University of Copenhagen. His name is Tom Gilbert. He said that this is his pick for an extinct species to bring back and test for gene editing technology. Anything else, literally, Tom, anything else? As I interact with rats way too much living in New York City. We got enough of them. I don't need to bring up like a dinosaur, like a velociraptor, like anything else, please, except for this.
If you're gonna take the effort to reverse extinction, don't waste that science on a rat, dude. Bring something cool back, man.
Something else.
Oh, what is this guy doing?
Oh my god. Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay. What animal would you bring back? Go.
I don't know, man.
No one knows.
Yeah, I don't know. But not a rat. Not a rat. I'll tell you that
anything, okay, good. Literally anything else. All right. Well, that does it for our show today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an awesome Friday and an awesome weekend. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the things. We'll see you Monday.
We out.
Peace.
Bye.
Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in every day. Also hit that like, subscribe, and notification buttons. We'll see you tomorrow.